featuring the 4 winning schools from yesterday's first round action. Today's sessions are 40 minutes long per school, equally divided between the student athletes and the head coach. Same housekeeping rules are in effect today. Please silence all cell phones if you have not done so already. Wait for our mic holders to ask a question. Let them know if you have a follow-up. No video of any sort from the audience, please. And we're going to go 20 minutes here. The Red Raiders are with us first. They play Buffalo, 5:10 Central Time tomorrow, first game. Davide Moretti, Jared Culver, Tariq Owens, Matt Mooney represent the student body for the Red Raiders, and we are open for questions. Right there. Thank you.
Yeah, Cliff Brunt, Associated Press. Jared, what stands out to you about C.J. Massenberg as you watch him and prepare to match up with him?
He's a great player on both sides of the ball. He's a 3-level scorer. He can score at all 3 levels. And, I mean, he plays with a lot of heart from what we've seen. So, I mean, it's going to be great to play against him and his team.
To follow up on that question, and this is for any of the players, Jeremy Harris, who's kind of been C.J. Massenberg's reinforcement, how do you evaluate him, and how do you prepare for, Buffalo's depth at guard?
Tariq, please.
They're a really skilled team. They get out and push it, and Jeremy's a good shooter, good scorer. So it's just something we got prepared for, getting out for them to run in transition.
Right here on the right. Go ahead.
All right, so just for all the players, y'all have had a little bit of time to get over yesterday's win, move forward. Just what are some of the thoughts about the Buffalo matchup, Matt? I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, we're happy we got away with the win yesterday, but we're locked in here on Buffalo. They're a really, really good team, really well coached. They were in the tournament last year and won. They're not complacent with just getting a win in the tournament. They've only lost 3 games on the year, so it's a really dangerous team that shoots the 3 well, gets up and down in transition, and they're scrappy on D, so we're ready for a battle.
Tariq, go ahead with that question as well.
Yeah, like Matt just said, they're a really aggressive team, get up and down. It's gonna be a great battle as we play them. They're a really tough team, so just looking forward to playing them.
Yeah, Tariq, just wanted to ask you about Nick Perkins, obviously a big guy, a strong guy, plays big. Can you talk a little bit about how well-equipped you guys are to deal with somebody who plays that way?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a team effort. He's really good in the post. He's got some moves down there. He's really aggressive. So, we're going to just stick to our principles and stick to playing how we play, just take the team approach to it.
Thank you.
Davide, does this team, Buffalo team, remind you of anybody that y'all played this year?
No, they're unique. They're really good players. They have really good players, and they're really talented. And we just be focused on them because I think they play really hard and really tough. So we're just trying to be focused on them and on our side of the floor, like trying to play defense and stay together all the way through the game.
This question's for Jared. Where do you think your team's advantage is against a team like Buffalo, and where do you think your team's disadvantage is?
I wouldn't say really an advantage or a disadvantage, but we try to stick to who we are, and we'll see how the game plays out, and you really see the advantage and disadvantage after the game.
This is from Matt. We know that Buffalo likes to run. We know that you guys can run, but probably don't like to as much as they do. How important will controlling the tempo be?
Yeah, we want to play March basketball, so it's taking good shots, having good possessions, taking care of the ball, and then trying to limit them running. Definitely, they're really, really good at it, but we want to try to limit that as much as possible.
Yep, right back there, Karen.
For Matt or Tariq, because you guys are were new to the program, where does the defensive attitude and intensity come from? How much did you feel it from the day you walked in the door, and how hard has it been to kind of learn to play up to the style of defense that's been so successful?
We'll have Matt first, then Tariq.
Yeah, that defensive intensity comes from our coaching staff. I've told this story a couple times, but I just remember like the first game of the year, I came out the game 2 or 3 minutes in the game, and Coach Adams was on me. He said, "You got any steals? You got any deflections? You know, what have you done?" And in my head, I'm like, it's only been 2 minutes, you know. But that's just what they expect out of us. They challenge us every day. And then for us guards, you know, we try to get out after the ball and get into it because we know we have great help like Tariq and Norris down low, ready to block shots. So it's just it's something we work on every day, and the coaches challenge us.
Yeah, like Matt said, you know, the intensity really starts at the top with our coaching staff. Since I got here day one, it's always been an emphasis, you know, just being aggressive and intensity on defense. And, you know, me coming in, that's just the kind of player I was. I'm a defensive player, so, you know, it's something that I bought into. And then, you know, it's just an attitude that our team is taking on, just a mindset that every guy on the floor takes on, playing defense and locking in. I think that's something that we really enjoy doing as a team.
Yep, right here.
Jared, what is your specific approach coming into the NCAA tournament and into this game?
For me, it just last year got a little experience, got a taste of going far to the Elite Eight in the tournament. So I'm relying on my experience, and you got to be mentally and physically ready each and every game, and you get a one-day break between this 4-game tournament that we're playing in. So just taking care of your body and just get mentally and physically ready every game is my approach, and I feel like that's the team approach as well.
Matt, George Schroeder here with USA Today. So I'm intrigued by what you were talking about the first game. And without casting aspersions on any previous team you've ever played on, how different is that approach? And then secondly, how different do you think that approach is from different opponents you guys have played all year in terms of the defensive intensity being so, I guess, intense?
So you said you were intrigued by what I was talking about the first game? You mean
Just talking about the difference in defensive intensity, and obviously it's not just that first game, but that was a good anecdote. How different is that than anything you've ever been a part of before, what this whole defensive intensity and mindset? And then how different do you think it is based on what you've seen with a lot of the opponents you play?
Yeah, so, you know, in my previous schools, I wasn't challenged as much defensively as I am here. And here at Texas Tech, that's kind of our DNA. And when I was getting recruited, everyone told me, you know, if you go there, you're going to have to play defense. And I was like, you know, okay, you know, I think I can play defense. But, you know, everybody has to play defense or you're not going to play. So everybody on our roster plays D. And then as far as our defense compared to other teams, you know, it's hard for me to say. I just know that that's something that when people talk about Texas Tech, usually the word tough and defense is going to come up, and we take pride in that.
Anything else for the gentleman from Texas Tech? Okay, gentlemen, you are excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The head coach will be up at 1:55 sharp. Thank you very much. Head coach of the Red Raiders is with us, Chris Beard. Remember, name and affiliation when you ask a question for the first time. Thank you very much. We're going to have Chris open up with a statement in this day between games, and then we'll go to questions. Chris, please.
It's the best time of year for those of us involved in college basketball. You just try to live for another day. So certainly yesterday, not only winning the game, but getting to go back to the hotel and continuing to work. Never take it for granted, you know, here in a few hours, I guess, to what there'll be 32 teams left. Is that right? I'm not a math major. Huh? 32? 32 now? Just trying to get to that 16, so just enjoying being around these guys. We don't want it to end. Love these guys we're coaching. They're working hard. Tomorrow, very challenging game. Buffalo, a team we have a lot of respect for. You don't win 30-something games in the season if you're not really good. So to us, we've told our guys this is a Big 12 game. These players could play in the Big 12. The coach does a great job. They have an identity with how aggressive they are, explosive offensively. So these are really, really good players, a great coach, a great team. Just like we always say, we'll have to play our best game of the year to advance.
First questions here, then we have 2, 3. Go.
Jonah Bronstein, Niagara Falls Gazette. Wondering what your impressions are of Jeremy Harris, and I believe you were involved a little bit recruiting him out of junior college, and maybe some of your recollections of him back then and you know what he's become in the last 2 years.
Yeah, Jeremy's a guy that played for a great junior college coach, Jay Powell, at Gulf Coast Community College in Panama City Beach, Florida. We did recruit Jeremy when we first got to Texas Tech. So you always kind of pull for those guys. I loved his family, his parents, and remember the official visit. And I really tried to watch Buffalo every chance I get, you know, because of Jeremy. Not only him, I just have, you know, I'm a former junior college coach. And so how Buffalo has used junior college players to make this run and build this program has been very, very impressive. See those guys out on the road on the circuit and always congratulate them when they sign good players. And certainly they had a great team last year and an even better team this year. So I'm happy for Jeremy and his family. It's worked out great for him. Not looking forward to coaching against him, but am very proud of him and the college experience he's had.
Joe Yeager inside the Red Raiders. Coach, Buffalo's guards, they got guys who could shoot it, guys who can drive it, guys who can drive it and shoot it, and a bunch of them. So what's the key going to be to basically try to contain those guys?
You're scaring me with that question, man. Anything else they can do? We got to worry about it? No, they're really good players. Like I started, these are some of the best players in college basketball. These are guys that would not only play in the Big 12 but would succeed. It's a really good team. It's one of the top teams in the country. So you know you're not going to stop great players. You've got to try to take away something. You've got to kind of pick and choose your times. Certainly with Buffalo, an explosive three-point shooting team, but also equally good with the drive. And they have a real inside game. So you know we can't stop these guys one-on-one. It's going to be team defense. It's going to be 40 minutes of focus. We're just going to have to win possessions.
Cliff Brund, Associated Press. You mentioned these guys could play in the Big 12. And, you know, Massenburg scored 43 against West Virginia. So, you know, obviously he could produce at that level. What stands out most to you about him?
I think he's fearless. It looks to me like a guy that's, you know, thinks he's the best player on the floor, and that's how all the great ones do. I watched that double overtime game. I remember watching it in the office. I don't think we played that night, so we're always watching games. And on a side laptop, we've got the Big 12 games going on. And you come up for air every once in a while and just watch the games. And we got really locked into that game. We watched the last 8 minutes and the 2 overtimes. And I think that was just kind of those of us in college basketball knew how good Buffalo was going to be, but that was kind of the opening deal nationally. Man, these guys are good. I think that got them in the top 25 where they belonged all year long. So. But with him specifically, I just think he's a fearless kind of guy. I'd love to coach him. Looks to me like he competes, scores on all 3 levels. Looks to me like he's got a little bit of chip on his shoulder. Familiar with him, being from Texas, and so he's a guy that we have a lot of respect for. Dynamite player.
Yeah, Chris, John Hoover, the Sporting News and the Franchise. As basketball, especially in the NBA level, has evolved toward analytics and three-point shooting, movement, things like that. Your defense seems to have gotten better. Players were up here just now talking about the intensity that you guys play with and the standard that's here. Is it easier to coach guys to buy into selling out for defense, or is it easier to go into the analytics and find three-point shooters?
Yeah, I don't think coaching's really changed in my time. I mean, good players want to be coached. I think what's kind of changed is society and social media and all this, but the actual player wants to be coached. We had 90 minutes out here a second ago, and those seniors are looking at me right in my eyes. Coach, help us, man. You know, good players want to be coached hard. So, you know, and in recruiting, you know, in college basketball, you get to coach the guys you recruit. That's why I've always had so much respect for successful high school coaches that have done it over time with consistency, because for the most part, they don't choose who they get to coach. We do. So for us in recruiting, we get guys that want to play defense, want to be coached at a high level, and go from there. And I think, you know, tomorrow's game, I'd put Buffalo. I know we get a lot of attention for our defense, which we appreciate. We work hard, but Buffalo is just as good. This is a defensive team, to me. They get a lot of credit for their offense and talent. These dudes guard, man. They play hard. Coach makes them play hard. It's going to be a great college basketball game. We're excited to be a part of it. With the analytical part of the question, it just only helps. These are things that we always used to dig up, but now you can get it by a point. You know, I remember back in the VHS days, we would just watch tape and we'd, hey, let me see every shot this guy's taken this year. You know, and me and Pat would look at Coach. We'd be on those VCRs, and it would take hours and hours and hours. Now you just hit the button and it's there. But I think a lot of the analytics are out there for everyone now, but those of us in coaching, we've always kind of had those numbers.
Heather Geller, Fox 23. I see your daughter sitting here in front of you right now. Noticed Margot at a practice on Thursday shooting layups with the team. Just what's it like having them on the road here with you, and just also seeing the team rally behind them at practice when they're out there shooting with the guys? What's all that experience like for you?
Yeah, March is such a special time, especially with us, because it'll kind of tie into the girls' spring break from time to time, whether it be Big 12 tournament or national tournament. So just a chance for them to be a part of this is pretty cool. You know, we talk a lot about family in our program, and so I just one of many things why I respect our players so much is how they treat other people, and my daughters will be at the top of that list. So we just got a special group of guys, and character's a part of who we try to be, and you know, I appreciate how they treat my daughters, and it's just cool to have them around this time of year.
Chris, Rachel Lindsay from the Buffalo News. Going back to Jeremy Harris, from what you've watched of him and scouted from Buffalo so far, what do you think it is that's, you know, really made him so productive in the postseason? I think he's averaging in double figures over the last 6 or 7 games.
Well, I'll go back first. I think he's been coached. You know, a lot of times he's getting coached at a high level right now at Buffalo, obviously. But Jay Powell did a great job with him at Gulf Coast in Panama City. He was a guy that we reached out to in recruiting because we knew how he was getting coached on a daily basis in that league, and that's arguably the best junior college league in the country, or one of them. Then with Jeremy, he's always just been skilled size. You know, he can do it all. He's not a big, he's not a guard. He's just a player, plays without the ball. Good defensive player, good athlete. I think he made a great decision because his coaches are using him about as well as you can use a player. They put him in great situations to be successful.
Buffalo has some good, aggressive defensive guards. Just curious your thoughts on them, and philosophically how important ball pressure is to good team defense.
Yeah, again, I think this is 2 of the best defensive teams in the tournament playing in the second round. I think both of us rely on different parts of our defense, but it seems to me like ball pressure is important to both of us. You know, we've watched a lot of tape last night and this morning. We understand it's not going to be easy just to come down and run our offense. You know, they're going to try to take us out of things, but we're prepared for these moments. In the Big 12, we play a lot against some of the best defenses in college basketball and aggressiveness, and I think it's going to be a great second-round game. I'd much rather be watching this game as a fan than having to participate in it, because I think Buffalo is really, really good, but this is what this tournament is. You know, like with each game, it's going to get more difficult, and that's certainly the case with us.
Jarrett Culver, what has he learned in his time at Texas Tech about playing on a big stage and at a high level? He said up here in preparation was really important, but what else has he learned kind of in this path coming back to the tournament?
Well, you'd have to ask Jarrett that himself. I mean, from my perspective, I've just seen an overall growth. Obviously, physically, weight room, mentally, embracing competition, one possession at a time, valuing possessions. He's worked on his game. He's gone from a non-top 100 recruit to one of the best players in college basketball. And as much as myself and everyone in Lubbock would love to have him in Lubbock next year, there's a real possibility that's probably not going to happen. Even though I told Culver I'd love to have him, I said we would, give him 2 lockers next year and 3 sets of practice gear or whatever he needs.
Anything else for the head coach of Texas Tech? All right.
Thank you.
Chris, thank you very much. Good luck. Buffalo student athlete